90% of the time, the guys that I like obviously did not like me back. Not enough that I felt bad for myself. I felt bad for my mom. I was like, why God, why did you give her a fat daughter? And being obese changed my life even for the better. Hey guys, it's Jermaine and welcome to my channel. Happy New Year! I know I've been gone for a bit, but I'm back now. I've been having so many crazy things going on in my life and I was not in the right headspace to film. I don't want to get too much into what has been going on. If you're interested in a little sneak peek of my personal life, you guys can go check out my vlog channel. I'll put the link up here. If you're someone new, you just clicked on this video, I don't want to bore you with my personal stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it on this channel. But basically, I've been gone for a bit because there's just been a lot of things going on in my life and I was not in the right headspace to make content. And I like to make sure that when I put out content, I genuinely am happy doing it. I put a lot of time in like research. I put a lot of time in my thoughts of what I'm going to say. I don't like to just do something just for the sake of doing it. So that's why there hasn't been a video, but I am back now. And I figured since it's the new year, everyone's kind of like on this path of self-improvement, and a new year always feels like another chance for you to do things right. I know I certainly think that way. I feel like every year I kind of set up like goals for myself. I don't necessarily achieve all of it, but setting up goals kind of give me something to work towards throughout the year. And honestly, some of it does work out, some of it come true and some of it doesn't. But I think it's a nice thought to look at a new year as a clean slate for you to start over, for you to do something new, for you to, get motivated. So there was another video that I actually intended to film this week, but as I was like looking back on this new year and just looking back at my life and the things that I've been through, the things I have done, maybe the things that I regret or wish I did differently or whatever, I feel like I am grateful for everything that had happened in my life. I don't feel anything that happened in my life happened by accident. For me personally, this is how my life was supposed to play out, and I would not be where I am right now or today. I would not think the way I think. I would not speak the way I speak if those things did not happen to me. And one of it being obese. If you've been with me for a while, you guys know my journey. I used to be extremely obese. I was not just overweight, I was obese class 2. I weighed almost 300 pounds. I used to be extremely unhealthy. I lived a very unhealthy lifestyle. It was not just my weight, but everything about me from the inside was just very unhealthy, very negative. I was just a miserable person. And if you've watched a couple of my videos, I've mentioned these things a couple of times. But as I look back on my life, I feel like being obese was one of the worst things that happened to me, but at the same time it was one of the best things that happened to me. Now just hear me out, because I know a lot of you that subscribe to me, that watch my videos, you guys have very strong opinions on the fat acceptance movement, and so do I. Boy, do I hate the fat acceptance movement. Do I hate any community that tries to tell you death is good. But when I say it's one of the best things that happened to me, is because without me being obese, without me being fat, I would not have the knowledge that I currently have about health. I would not think the way that I think about food, about health. When I was a kid, I used to be extremely skinny, extremely underweight. My mom and my dad used to be so worried about my health. I used to be rushed to the hospital because I would have like really bad gastric. I was very, very underweight. I'll just say I grew up that way. I was not obese, but I was underweight. I only ate the things that I like. According to my mom, she said I only liked eating McDonald's, or I liked eating like bread and jam or anything sweet. Until today, I am a sweet tooth. Like I could eat candies for breakfast, lunch and dinner if I was allowed to, which is why I don't keep it in the house, because it is so dangerous. After Christmas, I was like, everyone please take whatever that you brought, take it home with you, because I don't trust myself. Let's say I grew up skinny. People would think I was fine. Maybe I was not underweight, but I was maybe like skinny fat. People would think I was healthy and I was fine, but honestly, I was really unhealthy. And what if I got diabetes while being thin? I feel like the reason why my life changed was because I was fat. As you've heard my stories tons of time, if you're new to my channel, I started gaining weight when I was 9 years old. Actually, no, I was 10 years old, but when I was 9 years old, I started doing the work that got me to being overweight at 10 years old. At 10 years old, I weighed what I currently weigh, which is 80 kg. So right now, if you guys didn't know, I'm still on a weight loss journey as well. I currently weigh 80 kg. My healthy weight is supposed to be 68 kg. It's something that I'm currently working on and documenting that also on my vlog channel. But anyway, I've been promoting this vlog channel way too much. When I was a 10-year-old little girl, I weighed what I weigh right now as a woman who is overweight. If you want to know how I became overweight, you can go check out this video. Being overweight was one of the worst things that could happen to me right after growing up broke. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to hear my stories of growing up broke, because guys, it was so ratchet. I would love to bring my sister on here one day and share with you guys. My sister's like so bougie now, and she's like modeling and she does like all this influencer stuff and makes good money from it. But honestly, we both grew up really broke, and I would love to share with you guys some of those stories. Let me know if you'd like to hear my stories of what it was like for us growing up broke. The irony is, growing up broke is part of why I became obese. The worst part of being obese is I grew up hating myself. Before even people rejected me or hated me, or before even I knew if someone hated me, I already rejected myself for them. I hated what I saw in the mirror. I wore a lot of old lady clothes. I didn't have much of a fashion sense. And later in life, when I did, I had a bad one. I thought it was really cool to dress like this. I had zero self-worth. I had zero self-love. I was miserable. Besides just my body being fat, I had really bad skin. My face had no shape, it was just round. Struggled to find clothes. Constantly having to hear people tell my mom, "Oh my gosh, your daughter is so much bigger than you." Not enough that I felt bad for myself, I felt bad for my mom. I was like, why God, why did you give her a fat daughter? You know how like moms are always so proud to show off how pretty their children are? And I felt so bad that my mom couldn't show me off to people because I was so fat. Even until today, sometimes I tell her that I felt so bad for you when people would tell you that your daughter is so fat. I felt like I was failing you for being fat. And my mom's always like, "What? No, you're my daughter. You are beautiful." Typical mom stuff. I had a boyfriend when I was in high school, and the guy that I dated, because I had no self-worth and self-love, he had to tell me multiple times how he felt about me before I believed that he actually even liked me, because I thought I was being pranked the whole time. And then later in life, as I grew up and I just became more humongous, more unhealthy, I had like a situationship with a guy who was kind of a bum. My body was always in pain, my knees were always hurting, my back was hurting. You would think I was aging. What 21-year-old lives like that? Basically, there was just so many negative things. But with all this negative that I have shared on this channel like tons of times, I feel like I learned a lot about myself, and being obese changed my life even for the better. I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like my why could be something that you don't agree with, and that's totally fine. You can let me know if you agree with me, or if you disagree with me, why you disagree with me. I would love to hear what you have to say. One thing I love about this community is that you guys talk back to me. You guys are not like just yes man, but you guys have your own input, and you guys like share a lot of your thoughts, and you even sometimes change my mind on things. Even when you do agree with me, like you share with me why you agree with me and where that's coming from. I get excited when I'm surrounded by people who like have opinions and think like this. I love reading you guys' comments because you're like really smart people. Like even when you agree with me and then you give me like some insights and you share things that I did not even know, or I may not have even thought about in that way, like it's so interesting. This is like a smart community. I love you guys. Now, the first reason why I say being obese was kind of a good thing for me, because I feel like it protected me from losing my virginity. That's right, I was a big fat virgin. I still am though. But because I grew up with an absent dad, I was always craving that like male validation. And even though I did date when I was obese, because I was just so insecure of my fatness, despite like having daddy issues and growing up Christian and knowing that I want to save myself for marriage, I feel like it was easy for me to just be like, no, I just want any guy to want me, and if they want me, yep, I'll give myself to them. Like I feel like I had a lot of opportunities for me to do that or be that way, but because I was obese and so insecure, like I would not want someone to see me in that state. Because of that, I dated guys who after a while they just didn't want me anymore. I was just very desperate for validation, but at the same time I was very self-conscious when it came to my body. So I never allowed myself to be in that situation where it would lead us to have sex because I was too ashamed of my body. At that age, I was not strong enough to like know my worth and be like, no, I don't want to do this because of my principles. At that age, I would have like just given it up. But I feel like because I was obese, it protected me from having sex before I was ready. 90% of the time, the guys that I liked obviously did not like me back. There was one instance in my life where there was a guy that I liked who did like me back. And he was good looking, but he was a bum. And I feel like he kind of also used me. So we were in a situationship. We were not in a relationship. I feel like I was behaving like I was his wife or something. And I would like look after him. I would like bring food for him and look out for him and all these things. And he would treat me like trash. I think I've shared that before on this channel. But through all of that, one thing I never did was sleep with him. And after a while, I found out that he was sleeping with someone else, and he literally told me to my face that because he had to. I'm just glad at my vulnerable state when I was seeking validation from men, I did not lose my virginity to that bum. I know there are people out there who feel like virginity is not that big of a deal, but to me it is. For me personally, I'm not saying that everybody should do it. For me, because of my faith, as well as because I know that there are a lot of things that tie to having sex, and now because I'm more confident and sure of myself, I'm able to know that I'm saving myself, even though that opportunity presents itself and I feel attractive. I'll still never do it because of my own principles, which I did not have back then. If I look how I look right now when I was 21, girl, I do not trust myself. I've dated guys who are not cool with waiting, and for me, I'm just like, I'm okay to say bye because I know if you don't want me, I'm able to find someone else. Like, you are not my whole world, and I'm not desperate. Or else I used to be desperate. Now I fixed my daddy issues. I found self-love, self-worth, and all of those stuff. So I'm good. Like, if you want to go, go. A little side note, I feel like our generation of dads are breaking that cycle of daddy issues. I have a lot of friends who I know who are married, and honestly, like, the way the dads of this generation are so involved in their children's lives. I have friends who had a dad in their life, like the dad did not leave them, but the dad was not a present dad either, and they also developed daddy issues. I really feel like props to my generation of dads, especially like the dads who grew up, the kids who grew up in the 90s and now they became dads. Like, they seem to be doing a really good job, or at least the people that I know and the people that I see. I'm just like, wow, props guys, this is amazing. I feel like we're doing okay now. I mean, maybe we do have a little bit more stay-at-home dads now than we did before. Gotta pick a struggle, right? Number 2, I feel like being obese made me build character. Because honestly guys, when I was a little girl, before I became a fat person and had to compensate and grow up a personality, I was kind of a little spoiled. I was just a little like entitled. And I think partially it's because my parents always drilled in my head when I was a child that I was special because I was biracial. And in Malaysia, if you didn't know, at that time in the 90s, there weren't many biracial kids. There were biracial like within Malaysia, like Asian biracial, whether like Indian and Chinese or something, but there were not many like black and Indian or white and Chinese or whatever. There weren't many outside of Malaysia biracial. So my parents always made me feel like, as a little girl, I kind of had that mentality. And I don't know, but I feel like personally for me, if I grew up being attractive all my life, I may not have been a very humble person. I may not have developed a personality or like a character. I may not have had a sense of humor. I may have taken myself too seriously. I don't know. This is just something I'm thinking about. Because when I was young, if somebody were to say anything, like, I was so entitled and I thought that I was so great that if somebody were to say something mean to me, I would be so offended, like, how dare you? Whereas when I was obese, I got teased a lot, and that really toughened me up a little. I had a classmate who literally used to call me fat. Literally used to call me gemuk. Gemuk is fat in Bahasa. And literally, like, when he sees me waiting outside the school for my school bus or whatever, he would literally yell at me like, gemuk, gemuk. It's literally translated to fatty, fatty. So yeah, if that doesn't build character, I don't know what will. After a while, I stopped getting offended. Like, I was not even offended. And this guy was one of my friends. Like, he was one of my close friends in my class. I don't take myself too seriously. Like, people can make jokes about me or whatever. Like, I've had a guy say that I'm boring and I'm totally fine. Let me know if you agree. When you don't have pretty privilege, you kind of compensate in other ways. I was really popular in my school. I used to perform all the time. Anytime there was a chance to be on stage, I used to perform. When you don't have pretty privilege, which do exist, I believe it does exist. I'm not saying it's a bad or a good thing, but I'm saying it does exist. And when you don't have pretty privilege, you kind of need to compensate in other ways. In order for you to be taken seriously, in order for you to be heard, you need to develop skills, you need to be someone likable, you need to have a great personality, like, you need to offer something. I'm not saying that pretty or slim people don't have character. In fact, I personally do know pretty gorgeous slim people who have a lot of personality and who are funny and hilarious and all of that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you don't have that, you kind of need to develop something else. When you don't have beauty and, you know, like, on the surface you look good, you don't have that. You need to develop something else. My personality was like this loud one, the funny one, the one who loves the stage. Like, that became my I'm sorry for the thunder, guys. It's raining and it's thundering out there. I had to make up for the fact that I was blindingly unattractive. As I developed self-love, self-worth, like, I found myself, I kind of became more sure of who I was. And then also I started losing weight. I started to tone down a bit. Like, my loudness started to tone down. I didn't need to be like the funniest one anymore. I didn't need to be the loudest one anymore. I became more sure of myself. And I think, honestly speaking, it's because people started to notice me more, or people started to give me space more just because of my appearance. And this is why I say I do believe that pretty privilege does exist. Truth be told, as much as I talk about how people need to stop victimizing themselves and snap out of it, which I still stand by the way, I cannot ignore the elephant in the room that being big I did not plan for it to structure like that, but I cannot deny the fact that being big does let you see how the world truly is, lets you see how the world truly works, and then it gives you the chance to decide how you want to be perceived. Because there are some strong, powerful women and men who are extremely overweight, extremely obese, or unattractive, and people are obsessed with them. They're very successful, people love them. Like Oprah was really big at a period of time. Adele, gorgeous lady, but she was also really huge at a period of time. And when she was really huge, people were obsessed with her. She was charting on billboards, like she was so big in Malaysia. You've got Seth Rogen, he's such a famous comedian, and like so many people like him. These are people who are obese. Some of them are conventionally unattractive, but they are so successful. People love them. People listen to what they have to say. So as a human, society likes you if you have something to offer. So you can choose how you want to work with what you have. If you want to be perceived more as somebody who is physically attractive, then you can do the work to get there. If you're overweight, then lose some weight. Instead of just sitting and, playing victim and then creating your identity in being a victim. Because I'm sorry, but Adele made a lot of her millions when she was really obese, and she was not crying, oh, I'm fat and the world treats me bad. She was putting out music and people fell in love with her music. People related to her music. Even skinny people related to her music because her identity wasn't her fatness. Her identity was her art. I got to decide how I wanted to be perceived, and for a period of time I wanted to be perceived as the funny one. I wanted to be perceived as the one who made people laugh, and I did get to do that. I wanted to be perceived as a singer, somebody who sings and performs, and I did get to do that. But while I was doing all of that, I was unhappy within. I was unhappy within not because of how people perceived me. I was unhappy within because I was unhappy with how I was. Like, I did not like what I saw in the mirror. I did not like the feeling of the pain that I was going through. I did not like the feeling of limited options when it comes to buying clothes. I did not like how I look in clothes. I wanted the option to date really fit and hot guys, but hot fit guys don't want to date someone bigger than them. It felt pathetic that my mom, who was pushing 60, was way fitter than I was. So I changed. But I feel like I would not have gotten here if I was not obese. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with the things that I shared in this video. I feel like this video is so long. I just talked a lot. This is what happens when I'm not talking about a specific topic, but I'm just talking about myself. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because I upload new videos at least once a week. Don't forget to follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. The links are in the description box below. And don't forget to check out my vlog channel. I'll put the link up here. You guys can go click it, or I'll put the link in the description box as well. You can go check it out there. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.